Hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm Boomy and today we are watching Grazed by the Apocalypse from the channel Lemmino. Yes. Last time we watched Consumed by the Apocalypse by the same channel and it was an amazing video. If you haven't seen it already, go ahead and check it out. It's in my Lemmino reactions playlist, or not, just go ahead and check out my other videos. It should be there. So yeah, the last episode that we looked at, well, we basically took a look at the possible events that could lead us to extinction. Well, semi-extinction. But I'm guessing this one is probably gonna focus on the times where we almost got extinct by either killing ourselves or other phenomena that almost threatened human existence. So yeah, I'm very excited to see this. Um, we're keeping the apocalypse theme going with Lemino's videos for now. I don't know if he has other apocalypse videos, but for now we're gonna keep the train rolling. So yeah. Remember, if you like my reactions, don't forget to leave a like, let me know your thoughts on the video and reaction down in the comment section below, and consider subscribing if you want to. Also, suggest to me what other YouTube videos you want me to check out. I'm down with almost anything. Mystery stuff is good as well, but let's try to avoid any horror stuff because I'm not good with horrors, to be honest. So yeah. That being said, let's go ahead and watch the video. Oh, he doesn't have the
Always remember,
just let me
the
know.
flash of an atomic bomb can come at any time. There is a bright flash, brighter than the sun,
Okay,
brighter than
so we're
anything you've
starting
ever
off
seen.
with nuclear
And
weapons.
this is very, very important. Sometimes the bomb might explode without any warning. Without any warning. Without any warning.
That's really the key word there, right? Tragedy can happen without any warning.
On these African plains some 60,000 years ago, our ancestors began migrating north. A trek that would ultimately give rise to modern-day civilization. And it's nothing short of a miracle that we've progressed as far as we have, especially in such a short amount of time. It's really not that difficult to see why intelligent life may be extremely sparse across the universe, given how absurdly fortunate we've been. So many things could have gone wrong along the way, and so many times it almost did.
That is so true. If you think about it, we are our own worst enemies for
On the
sure.
morning of the 12th of August 1883, Mexican astronomer Jose Bonilla was observing the sun when numerous UFOs began to sweep across the solar disk. The objects were surrounded by a coronal haze and left behind
Transit
a
method?
trailing mist. The phenomenon continued for 2 consecutive days, and Bonilla counted 447 objects in total.
400, a
As the
lot of
event could not be
UFOs.
explained, the UFOs were simply dismissed as birds, insects, or dust passing in front of the telescope. But based upon Bonilla's description of the event, coupled with an improved
That's probably
understanding
comments.
of
I was
various
just about to
astronomical
say.
phenomena, an article published in 2011
Due to the
hypothesized
mist.
that the objects were fragments of a comet nearly colliding with the Earth. The only bodies in the solar system that leave trails and are surrounded by a bright haze are comets, and much like this comet observed in 2006, we now know that fragmentation is a frequent occurrence.
Yeah,
It
I
is
didn't get to
estimated
see
that the
that
comet
one.
broke into more than 3,200 fragments, ranging in size between 50 and 1,000 meters in diameter, and sailed past the Earth at a distance of no more than a few thousand kilometers. Had
Really?
only one of these fragments struck the planet, it could have resulted in millions of casualties. Had all, or at least a significant portion of the fragments, impacted
Dead.
the Earth, we're looking at an extinction level
event.
It's the middle of the Siberian taiga, around 7 a.m., when a powerful explosion would lit up the sky.
Is this
An
the
eyewitness
Chelyabinsk?
65 kilometers away from the blast accounts that the sky split in two and fire appeared.
Oh no,
high
this
and
is
wide
different,
over the
I think.
forest. At that moment, I became so hot that I couldn't bear it, as if my shirt was on fire. I wanted to tear
Damn.
off my shirt and throw it down, but then the sky shut closed. A strong thump sounded and I was thrown a few meters.
Meteor.
2 decades later, in 1927, the first expedition to the blast site would capture this footage. Some
Yep.
2,000 square kilometers of forest, some 80 million trees in
2,000
total,
square
had been completely
kilometers.
flattened by the event.
That
The
is
broad consensus
so
is
big.
that an asteroid or comet less than 200 meters wide exploded
And
a few
that's
kilometers
200
underground
meters,
and produced
less
a
than 200
fireball,
meters.
as demonstrated in this simulation. Transposed over New York
Damn.
City, its destructive power becomes a lot more apparent.
Is it? That's probably just the fireball,
over
not the
Tunguska, one that was
shockwave.
slightly larger. Had that happened over a city, let's say New York City, we would have 7 million casualties. At least, whatever the population in New York City is, they would be gone.
Really?
Really? What do you think? God damn it. Man, sometimes it surprised me how I know it's not all, but sometimes it really does surprise me how ill-informed a lot of politicians are, which is sad, especially especially when you think about that they're running countries. That is very alarming.
While the 2 bombs dropped on Japan marked a dramatic end to the war, they also marked the beginning of an entirely new kind of fear.
Mhm.
A fear of annihilation by incompetence.
Mad.
Humans are
Mutually
fallible,
assured
we make
destruction.
mistakes. And knowing this, coupled with a realization that one mistake could result in apocalyptic levels of destruction, the likes of which had so far been reserved by nature, this new kind of fear was undeniably justified. In early October of 1960, a new early warning system on Greenland had just become operational.
This is
In the
new.
event that the Soviet Union
From what I know, I've heard about the I think it was a uh I forgot his rank, but it was a submarine thing where they thought that they were bombarded with, oh well, they thought that the US launched an attack against Russia, but I believe it was a captain on a submarine, a nuclear sub, that was level-headed enough to say it's probably just a false alarm, so he didn't authorize a strike against the US, I think. That's the only one I know. This incident in Greenland, though,
should launch an attack against
that
the United States,
I
a
have
level
not heard
5
of this
warning
before.
would be sent to the command center located in Colorado. On October the 5th, the number on the display suddenly changed from 0 to 1, indicating that a low-risk unidentified object had been detected. A bit strange, but no immediate cause for alarm. But then the number continued to climb until a level 5 warning was issued, meaning that long-range missiles would strike the United States in less than 20 minutes.
Damn,
The alert quickly worked its
they
way
have
up
that
the chain
less of a
command, and
time?
slight panic ensued. But it was quickly eased by the realization that Nikita Khrushchev, leader of the Soviet Union at the time, was currently visiting the United States, not exactly where you'd expect him to be in the event of a nuclear attack. 20 minutes passed, and the value of bottle caps remained the same. A subsequent investigation
Fallout
revealed
reference.
that the base on Greenland had mistaken the rising moon for an incoming Soviet attack.
Wow,
In
imagine
the early morning
that.
of January the 24th, 1961, an American
Faulty
B-52 bomber
sensors.
carrying 2 hydrogen bombs crashed into an empty field in the state of North Carolina. Officials quickly
Seriously
issued
now.
a report stating that there was no cause for alarm and that there was no danger of a nuclear explosion or radiation. However,
Holy
declassified
shit.
documents released in 2013 revealed that one of the 2 bombs actually came extremely close to a
How close are we
full-scale
talking
detonation.
about?
3 out of 4 safety switches erroneously activated upon impact with the ground, and the slight separation of 2 wires was the only thing standing in the way of a nuclear explosion.
Imagine that. Imagine that wire touching. I'm presuming that it's still alive, right? So imagine that wire touching as they were moving it. That would have been sad.
Had this 3.8 megaton bomb detonated, and had the wind conditions been just right, the radioactive fallout could have reached as far as Washington, Philadelphia, and even New York.
Damn.
In the
Well,
early
what happened when it
1960s,
crashed down,
tensions
though?
between the US and the Soviet Union is strained to the breaking point and culminated in a situation known as the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I
It is
think this
perhaps
was
the
the one I was
closest
referring
we've
to
ever
earlier.
come to committing omnicide. The short version is that the US installed nuclear missiles near the Soviet Union, specifically in Turkey, so in response the Soviet Union installed nuclear missiles near the United States, specifically in Cuba. The US would have none of that. Hey, you can't do that. Only we are allowed to do that, said the United States. I don't know what you're talking about, the Soviet Union replied. I'm paraphrasing, of course, as these were classified communications. While the
No,
impasse in
pretty
and of
much right.
itself came extremely close to disaster, one specific event stands out. After the US imposed a blockade to prevent the Soviet Union from exporting even more missiles to Cuba, a Soviet submarine was detected near Cuban shores.
This was, I think,
In an attempt
this
to
was the
force
one.
the submarine to surface so that they could have a friendly chat, multiple US naval destroyers dropped low-intensity explosives to signal the submarine to surface. However, the captain of the submarine misinterpreted this as an attack and ordered his men to retaliate against one of the US destroyers by launching a nuclear-armed torpedo.
Ooh.
Fortunately, one of the two senior officers aboard disagreed with the captain's decision and eventually managed to
Okay, it was a
convince him that
senior
they should
officer.
instead surface
It wasn't the
and await
captain.
orders from Moscow. And that's exactly what they did, and thus the apocalypse had to reschedule. On May the 23rd,
I wonder if he's gonna mention the clock. The clock that I think it was it physicist that came up with it? The where it reaches midnight. That's basically when humanity is gonna extinct. Where it keeps coming back a few minutes and then going back. I think the last time I remember it was 2 minutes off midnight. Yeah, I hope he's gonna explain that here.
1967, all of the early warning systems across the United States ceased to function. In fact, all manner of military communications and radar technology
EMP?
malfunctioned simultaneously, and it was interpreted as intentional jamming by the Soviets.
Yeah.
Bomber planes immediately scrambled and prepared to launch an attack.
Or
But as luck would have it, just a few
solar
years
flare.
prior,
I was about to
a
say.
branch of the US military had begun observing solar activity and its effect on the Earth. And on this
It's
day,
probably just a
1967,
solar flare.
the sun had ejected a powerful solar storm that struck the planet and knocked out military defenses and other equipment. Had a project for something as unrelated as studying the sun been delayed for just a few years, no one could have explained this nationwide interference in time to prevent World War III.
Yep.
In the mid-1980s, squadrons of US aircrafts would often fly straight towards Soviet airspace, thus triggering their early warning systems, only to turn around at the very last moment, a form of psychological warfare that kept the Soviets on edge for an attack. In the early hours of September the 26th, 1983, the command center just outside Moscow was awoken by the sound of an alarm.
That's gotta be annoying though, right? That your enemies just keep pissing you off. At some point, somebody's gonna pay for it. I mean, imagine just sleeping and every 30 seconds you get an alarm. Or 30 minutes you get an alarm that enemy's coming. That's gotta be annoying.
An intercontinental ballistic missile
Oh,
had just been launched by the US and was now heading towards the Soviet Union.
an ICBM is a hell of a lot different than a bomber. That's for
In
sure.
the event of a nuclear attack,
You're
by
gonna
the
want to wake
Americans,
up to
it
that.
was standard procedure to launch an immediate counterattack. It was now up to the man in charge, Stanislav Petrov, to contact his superiors and to inform them that a nuclear attack was imminent.
I've heard of this guy. I think his story was just recently published. He was the one that basically stove off the attack, that saying that it was probably just a malfunction. I think it was. Yeah, I've heard. I forgot where I heard his story before. But yeah, he was a true hero for sure. But I don't think he got any credit for that. He was, I believe, I forgot what they did to him. Did they fire him or not? But yeah, they basically didn't give him credit for it, even though he basically saved us from killing each other, because he did not. He had a level head and did not report that the U.S. was attacking.
A few minutes passed when 4 additional missiles were detected. However, Petrov decided to go against his training and
Hmm.
did nothing. He
Yeah,
reasoned that if the United States were to strike, the attack would likely involve hundreds of
yeah.
missiles, not just a few. In
He
other
used
words, he
his head.
suspected that this was a false alarm. But as he had no way of confirming his suspicions, he could only wait and hope for the best.
That's a problem, right? If he didn't wait, we'd probably be all be in ruins by now. Or if he did wait, Russia would be in ruins by now. So it was a very, very risky gamble.
Fortunately, Petrov was correct in his assumption, as evident by the fact that you are currently breathing, and a
Mhm.
subsequent investigation revealed that sunlight reflecting off of high altitude clouds was responsible for the anomaly.
Wow. Seriously?
On March the 31st,
Reflection.
1989, 2 American astronomers discovered that a week prior, on March the 22nd, a 300-meter wide asteroid had come fairly close to the Earth. It
How
had not come
close?
close enough to pose any risk of impact and was even further away
Okay.
than the Moon, but it's still worth a mention as it passed through the exact position that the Earth had occupied a mere 6 hours prior, which is
Six
in and of itself
hours.
extraordinarily close on the cosmic scale.
Dude, in the cosmic scale, 6 hours is like probably what, 0.0000001%, even less of a percent of an angle difference. Like, honestly, 6 hours made all the difference between us not, well, probably us, a city or a place not being obliterated.
An impact with an asteroid of this size would obliterate almost everything within a radius of 60 to 75 kilometers.
Hmm.
Superimposed over Tokyo, one of the largest cities on Earth, it looks like it would have been a rough day.
That's putting it lightly.
Some of you may remember that a few years ago there was a lot of eschatological prophecies that the world would end in
2012.
2012.
Mhm.
While the world is still spinning, as evident by the rotation of this globe, we did narrowly escape a catastrophic event in July of 2012. On the 23rd
July.
of July, the
Ah,
Sun
yes. I think I
expelled something
remember
known as
them.
a
This
coronal mass ejection, or CME for short.
CME.
A CME is a release of large quantities of magnetized plasma, and if it strikes the Earth, it
Woo!
can cause some serious damage to any and all electronic devices. This was also one of the most powerful CMEs in recorded history,
Damn.
and it blasted straight through the Earth's orbit. Luckily
Ooh,
for
good
us,
thing
the
we were
Earth
on
was
the
on
other
the other
side.
side when
Yep.
that eruption occurred, but due to the rotation of the Sun, had this eruption occurred just 9 days prior, we would have been
9
engulfed by that
days.
storm. And if that had happened, and there's a 12% chance that it will happen,
Dude, that's probably gonna send us back to the Stone Age. With all our communications down, that is not an easy thing to come back from. We can come back for sure, but that is gonna take decades
in the
at
next
least,
10 years,
probably.
it could have taken us as much as a decade to fully
Yep,
recover. It's difficult to overstate the
another decade or
ramification of a
so.
CME on this scale. Worldwide power outages would take weeks, months, or even years to resolve. Many
especially
satellites
without
would have to be
communication.
replaced. Electronic equipment of all kinds would cease to function seemingly overnight. Medical, transportational, financial,
Unless if you were somehow able to put your laptop inside a microwave big enough to fit your laptop or your phone inside a microwave during that time, then you probably have a chance that it's gonna work. Then again, you won't have any cell service. Just hope that those. You know what? That gave me that actually gave me a good idea. Oh, well, not really an idea, but do we have a place where we just like, say for example, the entirety of Wikipedia, the entirety of human knowledge stored in a database somewhere, protected by these kinds of um, these kinds of events. Do we have a place on Earth like that? Like a huge server farm protected by stuff like this from happening, just so in the event we still have our collective human knowledge stored and alive so that we can rebuild. I know we have a seed vault for that. The same thing. I mean, the same idea where we have almost all of the seeds stored as a backup. But do we have the same for our data? That is what I want to know because I don't know if that exists.
military, national security, and other critical systems would all be compromised or destroyed. Society would grind to a halt and be literally plunged into darkness for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Given how dependent we've become on electricity and various technologies like the internet, it's difficult to imagine anything but global panic and chaos. It would not have been the end of the world, but it would no doubt have felt like it.
Yeah, a lot of TikTokers are gonna go crazy.
Declassified documents reveal that the US military has had over 1,000 close calls with nuclear weapons since the 1950s. Over 1,000.
Imagine that. Whew. Saw the lightning there? Yeah, it truly is. Man, it's very crazy to think that one small mistake, one small um lapse in just judgment can be the difference between life and death, not just for a couple of people, but for the majority of humans. This is why this is why I can sometimes get other people's notion that not a single person or a couple handful of people should have all this power in their hands, because we're just humans. We're very prone to mistakes, very prone to emotionally charged judgment, which most of the time never leads to a good thing. So yeah, if you're watching this reaction or even this video by Lemmino a couple of years from now, I guess we're still alive. We haven't destroyed ourselves yet, but yeah, with the way the events are going, climate change is probably gonna claim most of us, so good luck to us there. Oh man, that was very depressing and anxiety inducing. I'm sorry about that. But overall, that was a really good video. Well put together. Yeah, that was just overall great. Oh man, I'm excited to watch more Lemmino videos. I have a couple that I'm eyeing. I don't know which one I'm gonna watch, but you're probably gonna just see it when it comes out. So that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Link to my Twitter is down in the description below. Go ahead and check it out if you want to. And if you're new here and enjoy the reaction, don't forget to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and consider subscribing. It helps me and it helps the channel grow. Also, please don't be shy about leaving other suggestions what you want me to watch. I believe by the time this comes out, I already have a Tier Zoo video out, which was suggested by another viewer. So yeah, go ahead and keep your suggestions coming. I'll be more than happy to check them out for you. Any topic will do. Let's not focus too much on horror stuff because I'm afraid of horror, and yeah, let's just leave it at that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.